are you? I see you on my participants list, but I am looking for you.
Can I ask her?
Here. How's everybody?
Oh, we're doing really good. Thank you. Really good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. I was just sharing with everybody how many years in the making this has been, right? How many times have we tried to do this? Attempt, right? And we finally did. So I'm really, really excited about this. So welcome to KW, Lodi, Stockton, Tracy, Manteca, Salida, Modesto, all the above, Central Valley Realty Ventures. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself because I have a unique way of introducing you because we actually saw you in Roseville, and I swear I couldn't believe my eyes and I couldn't believe what I was hearing. So you are just amazing, and I'm going to let you go ahead and share your stats and how long you've been in the industry and where you're at today.
I appreciate the kind words that you've shared. Thank you everyone for having me. For those that know me or don't know me, I'll just briefly share that we run a team here in the San Francisco Peninsula. Last year we closed 104 million in volume, 109 transactions. And this year we're currently end of July, we're at 76 million for 63 transactions so far this year. So our price point's moving up a little bit. We had a slow start to the year, but it looks like we're trending at about 19.2% year to date compared to last year. So
that's amazing.
We have 12 people on the team. 13 people on the team. 4 of them are staff, might be 5 staff, and then 7 salespeople. I'm the primary listing agent on the team, and I'm here to share and answer any questions you guys might have to help you guys build a bigger business or whatever the goal it is for you guys. If you guys could voice it, maybe I can give you some insight for the limited experiences I've had in my own business.
That is beautiful. And how long have you been in the industry again?
I started when I was 23. So this is my 9th year.
That is unbelievable. So congratulations to you and your team. Congratulations.
Yes.
What I always like, I'm going to hang on just for a second, is asking this question. Wilson, if you had to go back, when would you have hired an assistant? Your first team person?
With the knowledge that I do have, I would say from day one. And I think everyone's going to have some fears in doing so, as in, oh my gosh, how much is it going to cost me to hire an assistant? How much is it going to cost me per year? How do I report taxes on it? Do I need to pay for EDD for, there's so much. What forms do I need to sign? How do I know if they're having a good workload, too little of a workload, too much of a workload? I'm sure there's a lot of thoughts that go through your mind if you guys have not hired a first assistant yet, and that's pretty normal. Yet, if you look at the opposite side of the benefit is they take off everything else that you shouldn't be doing as an agent. So hopefully you as an agent, you've already determined exactly what it is that's the best use of your time. If you are going to spend 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, spending full time as a real estate agent in your real estate career, you should definitely be doing certain things, and you should definitely not be doing certain activities in the process. I do believe, however, it is important for you to experience every little thing so that you could eventually delegate the things that you do not want to do. Here's what I mean. The other day, the crows got to my trash can at the office. I had to show up with my gloves on, and I had my 2 interns help me pick up trash. I still had to do that. Occasionally, we show up every day to work. Our admins are sick, or they can't get to work, or they leave our business, or maybe it's just myself right now and I have to do everything. In any given moment, we just have to take care of business to serve whatever our mission is. Our mission should be giving the best service and helping our clients make financial decisions that involve real estate and be a long-term resource for them to help them, right? So whatever it takes to get that done. And sometimes it means being the janitor and taking out the trash. In the meantime, if you're a solo agent, you're going to have to continue doing that until you earn the right to be in business to hire your first assistant. But to answer your question, Michelle, I would have hired that person from day one if I had the knowledge that I had to have today, because I think it does take time to build confidence, to build a track record of success for yourself, to justify to yourself that you've earned it.
I love that, because I say that because I'm like, you guys need to remember what Wilson said. That is your first hire. He would have done it the very first time you got a transaction. Everybody thinks I'm crazy, but I just think it was amazing listening to that that panel you were on. It was amazing. Okay, so we have some questions already. Ashley wants to know, how are you getting your listings right now since door knocking is out? I can't imagine you door knocking in San Francisco, but okay.
Yeah, that's a great question. So being in the business for 9 years, I didn't believe in cold calling or door knocking when I started, until I realized that no one was going to call me to list their home or to help them find a home. And I had to condition myself to be uncomfortable to do cold calls. At that time, I used to call with Mojo Dialer, triple line dial, circle prospect, get a couple FUs every once in a while, and at the same time get a bunch of positive FUs, which is follow-ups, follow-up opportunities, where I started adding people to my database. However, what I started to realize was no matter how many calls I made that were circle dials and I added people to the database, they were long-term nurturers. They weren't going to be people that were immediately ready to sell or to buy something. But then I earned the opportunity to build a relationship with them. I then realized what's more effective, what's more personable, and what probably would build a faster relationship. That was probably door knocking. Keep in mind, if I look at the KPA, if I look at the Myers-Briggs, if I look at my history with myself, I'm an introvert. I do not like social settings. I rather go home and play video games on a day-to-day basis. Yet I had to be uncomfortable if I wanted to succeed in business. And that's what I ended up doing. I went out and door knocked. Because of 7 plus or minus years of door knocking and canvassing and being consistent, last year our number one, number two sources of business was door knocking / farming. And second was open house. Guess what? We can't do any of that this year.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And as much as a lot of my value for my team members, my 6 agents is hosting open houses to generate leads, they can't do that either. So what's ended up happening is it's an even playing field out there. Because of the years of commitment to those activities, we've built a reputation with our signs up in the yards. We've built up a reputation with positive reviews on Yelp, on Zillow. We've made ourselves very easily findable. We've replaced our time, our human capital of time being out there. And because we're consistent being out there for years, we've justified spending postcards, sending stakeholders guides, utilizing printers and USPS to carry out what we cannot carry out anymore. What that means is it's ever more important for us to be on top of making sure that we're responsive when we get an up call, or when we do get a request, we're very responsive in answering people's questions. So how are we getting listings with the reputation that we've built? I'm realizing that more than ever, I'm grateful and thankful for easy times when we could go out and door knock and cold call, and when we could host open houses. And I get it. It's going to be a lot harder to build a business based on those activities right now because we can't do them. But that does not mean that we cannot have a successful business. Hopefully, relative to the board, your businesses are still flourishing because you show up day in and day out. If there is something that I can share with you guys, which maybe could help you guys with understanding, maybe what I mean by showing up, is when I was a solo agent to this day, I still show up to the office every day at 8:30. And I am probably going to be the most consistent person on the team, where I've just built a habit of showing up. Because I forget who said the quote, but you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. If you don't show up, you're probably not going to be able to answer that. Let's take 2 examples for example, to compare. I could be, I could succumb to my environment. I could realize, man, this sucks. There's only so much I could do. I might as well wake up late. And I get a call at 9:30 a.m. That's a come list me call. How do you think I'm going to handle that if I woke up late? I'm behind schedule. I don't have a schedule. I don't have a habit of success. versus if I show up every day, no matter if I anticipate to have an up call at 9:30 or not, but it just so happens that I do have an up call at 9:30. Do you think I'm going to be more prepared for that call? So showing up matters. No matter if there is an expectation that you're going to get some sort of result today, just show up, because you just never know when that opportunity is going to come knocking on your door, and it's either you're going to be prepared for it or not. And hopefully you are prepared.
That is great. I really, really like that. You guys, little housekeeping. If anybody has questions, don't text me, please. Please put it in the little chat box so everybody can see it. And that way everybody knows that there's a question there instead of me constantly looking. Does somebody have a question right then? No. Okay. So let's talk about everything that you know today. What would you do different 9 years ago?
A lot of what I would do different is the way that I think. So I think when you think of doing something uncomfortable, there's going to be a lot of limiting beliefs that are going to pop up in your mind. And I think it's important for you to voice those limiting beliefs and to walk yourself through it so that you can make a better decision. So here's what I mean. For example, let's say you're hiring your first assistant. What pops up to mind is, oh my gosh, even finding a basic executive assistant in our area is going to cost us $50,000 to $60,000+. Instead of seeing that as an expense, you should see that as an investment. Instead of seeing it as an investment for a whole year of $60,000, you should see it as an investment of a day's worth of your time. You have to make that determination how this person succeeds or they fail day one, so they can move on to work with you day two. And then all those days combined, how can they succeed the first week of working with you? And then you work all the way up to the month, to the quarter, and to the year. So if there's something that you are very clearly anticipating that you need help with, you should make it very clear and defined so that you know exactly how this person should be able to help you and how they could define if they're winning or losing with you. Because if they show up every day and you guys aren't having conversations about how they're winning or they're losing, it's not their fault, it's our fault. Because we haven't defined how they could win with us. And I get it. We're not admin people ourselves, but we have to force ourselves to think of how we can define their success. Agents are okay working with a lot of ambiguity. Staff members, people that typically get W-2s, are typically not. So it's a totally different work style, and we just have to make sure we keep that top of mind. And we have continued conversations with these people to make sure that they're on track, that they know what the expectations are, and so forth.
Got it. Thank you so much, Wilson. Accountability around your team. How are you holding people accountable to what you have set the bar to for them, for their positions?
That's a great question. Accountability, if I had to define accountability, I start with myself. If I have an expectation that my team members should make X amount of calls per day, am I doing it myself? Am I above it, right? Do I think I'm above that work nowadays? I don't think so. So if I have an expectation that my agent should make 25 contacts a day, I have to look at myself first and say, did I do that? Because if I didn't, how can I be a hypocrite and ask them to do it? How can they justify in their mind that they should be doing it if their leader is not, right? Mm-hmm. It's kind of like if you have a kid and you say, Mama, or Daddy, I want McDonald's. And I say, no, you can't have McDonald's, but I succumb to my own willpower and get McDonald's. How would I make my kid feel? I don't have kids, by the way. I'm just using that as an example.
I'm like, what's changed here?
Right. So we can't be hypocrites. We have to build self-confidence with ourselves first. And that starts with keeping commitments with ourselves. If we say we're going to make 15, 20, 25 contacts a day, did we do that? And then if we show up tomorrow and we are frustrated and we ask people to do it, the first thing they're going to say in their mind without telling you is, well, Wilson, you didn't fucking do it, so why should I? Right? So we have to do it. We have to show up every day. We have to commit to what we anticipate other people should do too. And let's say we do move on from that position. That's fine. You've justified it. You've earned it. You don't have to do admin work anymore, but we still have to treat people fairly. Were we able to commit to those standards when we were in that position? And I tell my buyer's agents all the time, you're going to be a much better buyer agent than I ever was. And here's why. I had no focus. I did everything when I was in your position. You have the luxury of choice to focus on buyers, which means your dollar per hour wage should be higher than mine ever was as a buyer's agent. But you have to figure out how to improve your position, whether you need support on a showing assistant, whether you need to design a system better to fill out offers so the staff can get to your offer writing right away. On our team, my agents don't write their own offers, but they earn it. If they don't have offers to write, go look for someone to talk to show property and eventually write an offer. But you have to follow the systems that we have in place because the systems were built to make your life a lot easier.
Thank you so much. What if I didn't do the work? How do you, what's your next step?
What's my next step?
Yeah, if I was on your team and you gave me, this is the task, this is what you need to do in order to achieve this, this is what you got to do, right? But I'm like, well, yeah, I got on the phone. Yeah, but they just didn't answer, or, I don't know. You know what I mean? What do you do?
Well, luckily we have not just myself as an example on a team of success. So what I mean is every day, mostly every day of the week, that's a work day, we show up for a huddle and we have an expectation that everyone does. Now I get it. Everyone's on 1099. They don't have to show up, but we tie benefits to showing up to huddle. It's not a requirement. We can't do that, right? You're not W-2. I can't tell you to show up when and where.
Right.
But if you show up, there are benefits to showing up. There's going to be leads. We're going to talk about important things, right? You're going to receive more of the commission when you do have an active escrow and you close. Like there's going to be incentive designed into being accountable and showing up as our expectation. So I guess your question is more so, how do I handle maybe a conversation with someone that's not showing up?
What does that look like?
Yeah, you're probably just not going to receive my full attention. Like if you want success, you have to commit 50% just like I want to commit 50%. Nowadays, it's not just about my own success of signing listings, as much as that's still part of what I do. I'm the primary listing agent. It's also helping my team members succeed. How do I help my team members succeed? I don't push my standards onto them because I want them to fulfill them. I push them onto them because they joined a team because they didn't want to be mediocre. If they wanted to be mediocre, they could join another team. If they wanted to be mediocre, they could be a solo agent. But if they want to be held to a higher standard because they have higher expectations of themselves, that's why they're on the team. So by signing up to being on the team, they've already agreed for me to push them.
That's
and
great.
only push them to what they define is what they want. And I push them if they're behind goal, right? Just like
great.
Here's what I say to them. Hey, look, if you're not hitting the standard, I'm going to call you out on it. If I'm not hitting the standard, call me out. It's a two-way street. It's not me being the boss and telling you what you should or shouldn't do, but I'm an equal player in this real estate team game. I have to hit the standards too.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, Wilson. A question from the floor. Who writes your offers on your team?
Yep. It used to be my first assistant, who's my TC, and we're transitioning her to completely do TC work. We have a client care person that takes any offer requests, writes it. Once it gets accepted, she's the one that keeps in touch with the clients. So there's little expectation for my agents to keep in touch with a client once the file goes into escrow. And the reason why is I want them to focus on finding more people to work with. There's two parts to the business. One part of the business is searching and cementing and signing contracts. That's lead gen, lead follow-up negotiations. The second part of the business is operational, and that's what we call servicing the business. Operational people are better at servicing the business, providing customer care, being top of mind, making sure that people are heard, connecting the dots for a checklist. Agents are not. So for those that are thinking about joining my team, when I do have conversations with them, I get it. It's not going to work for every single person, However, if you do want a higher quality of life, if you want to take more time off, if you want your escrows to close and you don't have to care about it, you can join my team.
That's awesome. Thank you. What does your org chart look like?
Yep. So on the operational side, we have a TC, we have a listing manager, we have a marketing manager, we have 2 interns right now / runners. We have a property manager, and then we also have a videographer.
Got it.
And then on the sales side, we just have sales agents. Sales agents, they go from ISA to junior agent to senior agent, and there's an opportunity on our team to earn more than 60% or more than 50% at 60% if they bring in more deals to the team.
Got it. Got it. Is your team just in San Francisco, or do you have teams outside of just San Francisco? You have some in San Jose, right?
We are right south of San Francisco. We basically only have our hub right now. We haven't really expanded. So I think expansion is a good idea. It really depends more so on the person that you find than the location that you want to go to. Just because I love Arizona, it doesn't mean I can start an expansion team there. I have to find the right person.
Got it. Are you paying for Zillow or any realtor.com leads?
I spend $0 on Zillow. I spend $0 on realtor.com. I spend about $2,000 on Yelp. Yelp was started in San Francisco, and it's a prominent search tool for a lot of consumers here. But other than that, I only spend on targeting sellers, whether that's on Facebook, on Google Ads, primarily hard copy mail, old school.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you. There's a couple different ones coming through. Hang on. What kind of? Okay, that one was silly. I don't know where they were going with that. So tell me about your the way you present, right? So I know you do a lot of videos. So you do once you get into a listing or once you get into a contract, what happens?
Yeah,
I wish I would have started this with one of your videos. That's what I should have done. Next time.
Yep, that's fine. You guys could search it, and there's some things that are more traditional for tied to a property, and there's some less traditional, such as testimonials. Here's what it looks like when I sign a listing. I'll give you an example that's more recent. I went on a listing appointment on Friday. It was referred to me by an agent up in Sonoma. And it was he called me some time ago and he said, there's this family that's moving to our area. I told them to reach out directly to you, and I was just waiting for the call, and they finally emailed me. I confirmed the day and time that we're going to meet. Actually, here's what might be helpful. Why don't I role play with you, Michelle? Let's say you are the seller, and
Okay.
that way I can role play. So,
like
guys, what's the point of the initial call? What's a goal?
For you to get my listing, right? Or for me to get the best price and walk away with a nice little sum of cash in my hands.
Well, yes, that's the ultimate goal. For the purpose of the call, it's to get in front of you.
Right.
To get the appointment. So I'm going to get the appointment.
Okay.
So let's say you reach out to me via email, and I'm calling you back. Ring,
Yeah.
ring.
Hello.
Hey, is this Michelle?
Yes, it is.
Hey, Michelle, this is Wilson. I just received your email regarding your thoughts on potentially moving to Sonoma. I know you had been introduced to me by so-and-so, and I really wanted to gather your thoughts and see if you have any initial questions you might have for us. Can you share with me a little bit about what you're thinking right now?
Yes, I have to move because my husband's being transferred down south. So this is something I do want to entertain. Yes, and thank you so much for calling me back. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Well, Michelle, I really appreciate you reaching out, first of all. And it sounds like it's an exciting time. At least you're moving because your husband, you said, found a new job or has a new position.
Right. It is. So we are entertaining a couple different people, just so you know, Wilson, just to give you a heads up. I just need to know, what is your marketing strategy for a home such as mine?
That's a great question, Michelle. And I appreciate you being so transparent with me. If I was in your position, I would talk to multiple people too, because it's a really big decision. I will get to your question about the marketing. Do you mind if I ask you, how long have you stayed in this area?
About 15 years.
Wow, 15 years. And Michelle, over those 15 years, I'm sure you've gained quite a bit of equity in your home. Have you considered keeping this as a rental?
You know what? I haven't, just because it's so large, I don't want the headache, but thank you.
Got it. So it sounds like at least you made the conclusion that this is not probably the right thing for you to keep as a rental.
Right.
Regardless, Michelle, our mission as a team is to help families build wealth through real estate. So regardless if you make the determination, if you want to buy something, you're going to rent something right away when you move south, I want to give you an idea of every single option that's available to you so you can make the best decision for your family. Even if it's something that you might determine it might not be something that's right for you right now, I want to put that on the table so you're aware of it. So when we do meet together, I'm going to share with you exactly how much you would potentially be renting it for. I'm sure you also have questions about marketing, and before we get to marketing is a preparation. Now, what do you have in mind in terms of preparing the house for sale?
I don't know. Why don't you help me with that? It's been a long time since I've been down this road.
Absolutely. So what it sounds like is you would want some feedback on what consumers might be looking for, what they categorize as move-in ready, and what are some of the items that we might want to touch or not touch in the house to sell for a higher price. Because I think when you ask me about marketing, marketing is potentially tied to the total and the net that you're going to get when you finally sell your house. Is that right?
Right, right.
Perfect. So we're going to talk about marketing, the process, preparation, of course, the expenses and what we do differently in our marketplace and how we're able to help so many other sellers in the area. So Michelle, it sounds like what we should definitely do next. By the way, do you have any other big questions that are top of mind for you right now?
I don't know. I'm just listening and seeing how you are going to present this to me. So I do move at the right time, and I'll be able to get into the next home in a
Absolutely.
timely manner.
So Michelle, for us, the selling process is pretty straightforward because we help so many families. We encounter many experiences that we could share with you so you don't have any pitfalls in your transaction. I think what we're more concerned for is your search and where you're going to be moving to and your well-being for your next location that you're going to be at. So what are your thoughts in terms of where you're going to be next?
Well, it is going to be down south near San Diego, probably the Old Town area, or even like near the water. So
okay. That's exciting. Well, I'm happy to hear that and you shared that with me. And I'm sure you have many lingering thoughts, such as, should I buy first if I could? Should I sell first? I don't want to be homeless if I sell first. What's a rent back? And of course, the preparation. How do I sell a home occupied if it's during COVID and shelter in place, for example? So those are answers that we're going to provide to you and options we're going to share with you when we get together. And why it's important for us to get together is because if I'm going to give you an accurate idea on value, and I'm also going to make sure I give you good advice in terms of next steps and what we need to do to the home, you're going to want to hear about that and make the best decision, right?
yes, thank you. Mm-hmm.
So when's a good time? We could do a Zoom walkthrough too, but it's likely better if you're comfortable with me coming over and doing a walkthrough. And if we need to chat outside afterwards, that's completely fine with me too. What does your schedule look like for the rest of the week?
9 o'clock on Thursday. Does that work for you? I'm making this easy for you.
Yeah. 9 o'clock, I do end a meeting right around 8:30. So why don't we shoot for it so I can get there on time around 9:15? How's that sound?
That sounds perfect.
Perfect. So here's what I'm gonna do, Michelle. I have your email here. I'm gonna send you a calendar invite. Mm-hmm. And then I look forward to seeing you, blah, blah, at 9:45.
Wonderful. Thank you, Wilson.
So I don't want to give my time away just like that. I know I don't really have a commitment at 8:30, but to Michelle, she knows that I'm pretty serious about making sure that I time block my time to the 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. So she knows my time is valuable. Here's what happens afterwards. I create the Google Calendar invite. I send it to Michelle and I send it to my listing coordinator. My listing coordinator is the one that preps the file. Actually, our intern right here is prepping the file right now for a listing that we have this afternoon. And from there, I show up that day in the morning and I pick up the file, I look through it, and I go on my presentation. Let's say I sign it and I'm a one-call closer. I bring it back to my listing coordinator. I fill out a G form with all the big bullet points that I had agreed to with the client. And from preparation, from vendors, from staging, cleaning, from repair work, from landscaping, from disclosures, I don't touch any of that anymore. My listing coordinator does. And the only time I show back up again is weekly. I give a market update. and I negotiate. Once it's negotiated, I send it off to the TC and the client care person. Once it closes, I say congratulations and I ask for a review. So the question is, as a listing agent, how much time did I actually spend on my listing?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, the first call is going to take about 30 minutes to 45 minutes. My appointment's going to take about an hour to 2 hours. The negotiations is going to take about 1 to 2 hours. And a congratulation call is going to take me about 30 seconds.
That's amazing.
So what do I do with the rest of my time?
You get more transactions going.
That is correct. I lead gen and I lead follow up.
Yes.
If you guys could do the same. Here's my position on the team. I'm a relationship delegator nowadays. I should be generating so many leads and that I should be getting and handling potentially the up call or getting the request. And I'm the person that says, I'm the matchmaker. I say which agent on my team is best suited for this person based on these qualities. You guys should all lead gen to a certain extent that you get the luxury of choice on who you want to work with.
That's great. Thank you so much, Wilson. That was awesome. There's a question here. Do you send a pre-listing presentation? I don't think you do, or you would have said that.
Yeah.
No, you send video. I thought you used to send videos of.
Do you mind if I share screen real quick?
Not a problem at all. Let me make sure you can. So I'm going here. This is multiple.
Okay. Do you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So this is just a random email I sent to someone that I had a first call with. We don't do a hard copy pre-listing package right now. Specifically, this was a condo, so I couldn't enter the premises to drop one off. But this is what I send. Hey, thank you for reaching out. It's a pleasure speaking to you. This person's moving to Sacramento. I look forward to our Zoom call meeting, which was a formal sit down. Here's some resources. I did a video update, home improvement. I have some attachments. Here's my Yelp page. Here's some of the properties that we sold, the end product of the website and what we did, the scope of work. Here's some of the walkthrough videos we had to do during SIP. Here's a playlist of 7 steps to selling your home, which I did during SIP as well. Here's our listing intake form when I show up. These are the things that I want answered. Here's our step-by-step for a listing on the process, and we would review it by send it up front so they know exactly what's going to happen. Here is a marketing plan. It's more so, fluff. And here's a market stats thing where it shows us clearly as number 1. And it's just for them to see that, hey, look, we do quite a bit of work here. So I send this as it's a template. I basically copy and paste it and change a couple links here and there. I think when I've identified that there's 4 reasons why someone would work with you on the listing side. The 4 reasons, the first is going to be value. The second is going to be relationship. The third is going to be neighborhood expert. And the fourth is going to be cost. Your job as an agent is to figure out which one is top of mind for the person that you're sitting across of. For example, for some people, all they care about is, I want to work with my family member or someone that I'm comfortable with. So they value relationship. For other people, it's going to be, well, I know all that you do, and it looks like you're a well-put agent and you do everything top notch, but how much are you going to charge me? They focus on cost. Sometimes you get a call of, hey, Michelle, it looks like you do a lot of work here and I want to work with you because you're the neighborhood expert. And other times it's going to be, Michelle, what are you going to do specifically that's different from every other agent? And how are you going to provide value to me? Whether it's concierge, whether it's paying up front, whether it's free staging, whether it's your negotiation style, how do you define value, all right? So there's 4 reasons why someone would potentially work with you. Our job is to figure out which one is top of mind for the seller.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You guys, any other questions? Because we're getting closer to noon and I want to respect everybody's times. So anything that's pertinent. How many different boards did you belong to? That was a question.
Just 1.
Really? Okay. Are you seeing a lot of Facebook ads turn to closings?
Let's say on average, your Facebook ads are going to be high up the funnel. That's going to take a long process to nurture. So they're not going to be like Zillow where they're actively searching, but they stumbled upon an ad on Facebook and they clicked on it and they're curious. A lot of times when people are curious, they might forget that they even made that request. And it's up to us to make sure we spin the conversation. As much as they might have requested one property, we have to talk about overall what they're looking for and what their goals are, even if it's a year or two out, for example.
Thank you. So let's talk about commissions. If you were listing my home, or when you list my home, right? And I'm like, well, you know, the area average is 5, but I want 4.
Mm-hmm. That's a great question, Michelle. And I'm happy that you're asking, because you asking shows that you value, obviously, making sure that you net the most money. So typically, if they ask me up front in the beginning of the conversation, of the consultation, I'm going to defer that. How do I defer that? I want to express what we're going to do that's valuable first, right? It's kind of like if I have a headache and I walk in my doctor's office and I ask the doctor, oh my gosh, I have a headache. You're more so thinking about, are you going to be able to fix my problem, rather than, hey, how much do you charge to fix my headache?
Right.
So you have to remind them why they're asking. They're not asking because they want to hire a cheap agent. They're asking because they want to net more money. So if you can show them value and how you are able to help them net more money, the expense of paying you is irrelevant.
That was amazing. That was amazing. Thank you.
So the other way to think about this is, and this is what I call seller tolerance. Just like alcoholic tolerance, if you drink a lot on a day-to-day basis, you probably could drink more, right? Seller tolerance is, if they talk to a lot of agents, they've heard more stories, they've heard of more discounters, they've heard of free staging, they have a tolerance that's bigger and more expansive on what agents are willing to do. But you have to clarify with them what it is that's important for them as a process. How do they perceive value? Here's what I mean. We might have a 20-point bullet point listing presentation of values. We could share all 20 with them, but if only 1 or 2 of them matter, we just wasted our time.
Right.
So why not start our conversation, our consultation, with asking them what's the most important thing about selling their home? What else? Why is that important to them? And just answer those top questions so you don't have to waste your time. And if you're able to answer those top questions, then you'll already answer the reason why they should be paying you the going rate.
Right, right. Thank you. That's very, very good. I hope you guys wrote that all down. That was an awesome script. We are recording this, so it'll go on our Facebook. So yeah, thank you so much. Okay, Wilson, what is the one thing that I haven't asked that you think you should be sharing with us?
I think every single person here is in real estate because they see that, for example, for myself, there's a higher opportunity for my time and my effort, where if I put in more time and effort, I can make a bigger difference in my bottom line. That if I worked a W-2, someone else controls my wage, someone else controls if I succeed or fail, someone else controls if I get fired or if I stay on the job. With that said, I think it's important for you guys all to have clarity on exactly where you see your business in the future. Yes, we might have gotten thrown off this year because of external factors, but it doesn't mean that we cannot pursue our goal. But what is the goal we're pursuing? In the past, the goal I was pursuing was X amount of transactions each year. Yet that was the wrong goal. The byproduct of helping people is X amount of transactions equating to X amount of income. I think you have to define exactly what your business is going to look like, how much time you're going to spend in your business, who's doing what in your business, who do you need in your business, what exactly is the future of your business. How much vacation are you going to take? How much time are you going to spend with your kids? And work yourself backwards. Because if you don't do that, you're always going to be lost in your business and feel frustrated. Because at a certain point in my career, I was always frustrated because no matter how hard I worked, I didn't have clarity on what a perfect business or what ideally would look like for the future of my business. And until you have clarity on that, you're going to have frustrations here and there. You're going to lose sight of when you're knocking on that door and making that 50th call, it is going to get tough. But why are you working so hard? Have you defined it? What do you want? So defining it and then working backwards to work towards that goal. And then of course, if you think about it, whatever that goal is that you want to achieve in the future, someone's achieved it already. So if you guys have listened to Gary Keller's podcast, the last time he talked about it, Think Like a CEO, it's about modeling. Who can you model? Who's your idol? It doesn't have to be real estate. It could be another small business, but they're running an operation that's admirable.
Right.
Why haven't you called them yet? Just call them and ask them to take them out for Zoom coffee. I'm sure they wouldn't mind. They'd be flattered. Who's asking right now, right?
Right, right. That's awesome, Wilson. I cannot believe this finally happened. So thank you so much. I really respect our agent's time, so I wanted to make sure we have like another 5-10 minutes with Suzanne. So we have to wrap up here, but I hope we can get you maybe on another Zoom coffee next quarter.
Sure. If you guys have questions, you can feel free to reach out. Michelle has my contact. I post a lot of our videos on YouTube. You can just search my name, or you can just follow me on Instagram. I post a lot of our videos there too. It's Wilson, WLREA. And also I host most of the time on Mondays, a Monday Mastermind. So if you visit mondaymasterminds.com, you can ask any questions there and we can talk about it. It's at 1 p.m. every Monday.
That's great. I'm going to write that down too. Well, thank you so much, Wilson. You take care and stay safe and healthy, and looking forward to chatting with you again, okay?
Have a good day, everyone. Take care.
All right, bye-bye. Thank you. Hang tight, Suzanne. I'm going to stop the recording.